Hi everyone, welcome back to the Divine Healing with Love channel. I am Nicole. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. Welcome back to the capital LOVE tribe. Thank you all so much for all of your love, support, likes, comments, subscribing, being a part of the tribe, showing up for yourself, healing, doing the work. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just doing the work and healing. It helps all of us. I'm grateful to be here to be of service, to help you in your journey. It's healing for you, it's healing for me. Thank you all so much. So today I want to talk to you about shadow integration, integrating your shadow and not being afraid of your shadow, using your shadow to your advantage to move forward in your journey, not letting your shadow hold you back. So when we do shadow work, our shadow, that's our darker aspects, okay? The darker side, the darker aspects of ourselves. And then our shadow, we can have, like, when I think about my shadow is really the wounded parts of myself, the parts that's been heartbroken, the parts that's been, it's just, in pain, essentially, in my opinion. This is how I look at my shadow. Those are the parts, those darker aspects, or those, aspects of myself that I'm healing and bringing to the light. But I want to talk about using your shadow and keeping things in perspective and understanding that your shadow could be used to help you, but you have to continue to heal it and you have to balance your shadow. So when we do shadow work, that's again looking at ourselves in an introspective, honest way, holding ourselves accountable, looking at ourselves in how we created certain situations or how we handle certain situations. And when I do my shadow work, I look at that as a way to help me improve, to heal, to take accountability, to do things in a different way. And I realize within my shadow, again, those wounds of it could have, happened from, it's not just childhood, it's anytime, as an adult or whatever. That's the wounded part of myself. That's the part that really, again, needs that healing. And the more that I heal and bring it to the light, I'm integrating it, but I'm balancing it out. We are light, okay? That's just naturally who we are. We are beings of light, beings of love. But here on Earth is dense. Okay, it's harsh. The conditions are harsher, it's dense. We have a dark side. That's a part of the duality here on Earth. Everything is, everything here on Earth has a duality. It's a dual system here on Earth. So part of our human experience is to have the light and the dark. We are, this is a part of the experience. I'm not saying we're born that way. We're born with our light, but part of our dark can also come from our past lives because we carry that within our soul, within our Akashic records. But everyone has a light side, everyone has a dark side. But again, it's about balance. It's about balancing that out and not letting that dark get too out of control. I'm not scared of my shadow. At one point in my life, I was scared of it because it was so wounded. And then when my shadow would come out, I call my shadow girl. I call my shadow and my ego girl. And I'd be like, girl, chill, you're getting out of control. But when my shadow would come out, it would be explosive because it was so wounded, not heard or not, in the past, I didn't used to do shadow work at all. It was always a situation where I wasn't healing at all. It was like something would happen and let's keep moving, let's continue, let's keep going. And then things kept piling up. And it was just nowhere for anything else to go. I had to begin to unpack and heal because I didn't have a choice. I was overwhelmed with pain and trauma and heartbreak and so many different things. So I had to start unpacking because, again, there was no room. My shadow was completely filled up. I mean, it became so dark. And when my shadow would come out, it would just be so explosive, and I would just be like exploding on people and exploding on people that didn't deserve it, or exploding in a way that they did not deserve that. Like, I could speak up for myself and I can advocate for myself and speak with authenticity, but I didn't need to explode. I didn't need to go off and to be mean and to tear people down. And this is what my shadow would do. You know, it would be that explosive because I had a lot of inner chaos. And so that inner chaos was reflecting outward. And the situations that I was dealing with was like when my shadow came out, it was just like this big blow up. And I would just be like, wow, like, why am I being so mean? Or why am I being so hurtful? Or why am I just ripping someone down? Like, where is this even coming from? I would even feel like sometimes, like, is that really me? Like, did I really say that? Or like, did I really act like that? It was almost, I'm not saying a split personality, but it almost felt like that because my shadow had gotten so dark. And it felt scary when she would come out. It was like a totally different person, not me at all. So when I started healing and balancing it out, I started like, at one point I hated my shadow. To be honest, I hated that side of myself. I was afraid of that darkness. I was afraid of my dark side. I would be in the dark a lot because I would just naturally be attracted to, you know, although I'm very light and very much about love and light, I would be very dark. I would go very dark. No one would really know this, but I would have dark thoughts and things would just get very dark for me. So now let's talk about how I started using my shadow. I stopped being afraid of the dark. I stopped being afraid of the darkness. And like I said, once I started healing those parts of myself, the jealousy, the anger, the rage, the resentment, the bitterness, you know, all of that, when I started healing and unpacking all of it and started healing it, I was able to balance my shadow and I was able to understand it more. And I was no longer afraid of it. I'm no longer afraid of the darkness. I'm using this now. I'm balancing it and I get it. Like I get what this is about and I get how it all helps. It's just the way you use it. It's just the way you tap into it. But you have to do that healing work. So the shadow, and it's the same thing with the ego. I had ego issues as well. So it's not so out of control. Okay? You have to heal it in order to balance and be able to tap into it when you need it. So let me tell you the story. So I'm at Whole Foods, okay? I really love Whole Foods sandwiches. I'm very passionate about my sandwiches. Like, it needs to be right. It needs to be made a certain way. I try not to be controlling with this, but you know, when sandwiches are not made properly and it all collapses, it can all fall apart and collapse, and it's just not enjoyable. Like, I like my sandwich to be made a certain way. Like, I just be very particular about that. So anyway, I'm at the sandwich counter and I start talking to another person, nice acquaintance, just met her at the sandwich counter. We both ordered the same sandwich, so we're just like chatting it up about that. It's the TTLA sandwich, if you know. If you go to Whole Foods, you know. Or like if you eat sandwiches from there, like, you know. So we start chatting and we're just chatting about different things. Come to find out she's from the East Coast. That's like a thing here in LA. If you find out someone's from the East Coast, which that kind of comes up often, you just connect and just start talking. So we're chatting. The people are making our sandwiches. So my sandwich is like being pressed and her sandwich was done. So the lady is like, you know, here, you know, do you want me to cut your sandwich in half? So mind you, this is not my sandwich. It's, you know, the acquaintance that I met is her sandwich. So we both look at it and I'm like, again, it wasn't my sandwich, but my shadow was like, let me in. Like, let me in real quick. So the lady, clearly I felt her energy. Like she was going to go along with it, but she wasn't really happy for it, you know, happy about it. She didn't like the end product. And so she was going to kind of go with it. I felt that energy and I was like, hold on, no, that's not the way the sandwich is supposed to look. And that's not done right. Like, that can't be the end product. Like, someone needs to make another sandwich. And I said someone because I'm like, clearly you don't need to make it again. I mean, if this is how you made it, this is not how it looks. Someone else needs to make it. So she's like, you know, the lady's looking, the sandwich lady, and she's like, I guess she was kind of looking like, who are you? It's not your sandwich. Which I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm not going to let my acquaintance eat this. Okay? It's not cool. That's not how the sandwich looks. We're both sitting here talking about how passionate we are about the sandwiches. I'm feeling her energy. She doesn't want to speak up. I'm going to speak up for her. So then the guy that was making my sandwich, now my sandwich is done. It's being pressed. The guy that was making my sandwich, he comes in and interjects. And he's like, what's wrong with it? Okay. So I didn't say anything. The lady's like, well, you know, she's really nice about it. She's like, it doesn't look like what it's supposed to look like. She's like, I order this all the time, and that's not the way it looks. So then I step in again, and I'm like, yeah, you just made the same sandwich, and it doesn't look the same. So this is what he says. What do you want us to do about it? Now I'm like, okay. Now my shadow is really like, okay, let's go. Let's go. You know, my shadow was like, what you gonna say? Let's go. So the lady, you know, she didn't know what to say because I don't think she was expecting that. So then I was like, okay. I'm like, you know, I'm living in a new city. This is a new narrative. I've been healing. Because if this had been back, if this had been back in Maryland, it would have been a whole, in the DC area, it would have been a whole, I probably would have really went in, and it would not have gone good. He would have got mocked, honestly. He really would have been mocked. But I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that this time. I've been healing. Let my shadow out, but let me not tear this person down, because that's usually what the shadow does. Like in the past, the shadow would just be like, I'm about to knock you down all the way, and I'm only going to deal with you, and I'm not going to talk about anything else but you. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be very classy, and I'm just going to really like do this differently. So I had to say to the lady, I was like, no, and this is what he said too. He was like, oh, it's her first day. Like, what do you want us to do about it? So I was like, okay, lady, congratulations on your new job. Thanks for being here. Okay, what I'm about to say, please don't take any of this personally. It has nothing to do with you. And then I was like, let me direct to you now. First of all, this is not how you handle situations. You don't tell a customer, what do you want us to do about it? This is not how the sandwich looks. I don't know why you expect her, and I'm just like going in. But I'm doing it in a very classy way, very calm, not yelling, not tearing him down, not tearing the place down, because that's what I would do in the past. You know, I would just be completely below the belt. But I could be below the belt in a classy way too. And I was just like, you know, I just went through it, and I was like, this is not how you handle it. This is not what you do. Make her another sandwich. And I said, make it with love. Okay? Make it with love, because she wants to feel that. And her sandwich needs to be right. And then he took it in, and he was like, okay. Like his attitude changed, because he had an attitude. He was like, what do you want us to do? And that's what it made me like, you about to make me turn up, because I don't know why you talking to me like that. I really wanted to be like, who you talking to? That's not how you talk. Are you talking to me? Because I'm not. But see, that's the old shadow. That's me balancing it out. This is me healing it now. I see the difference. I see the growth. Like, okay, that didn't make me go too far, because before, when my shadow was like not healed at all, if someone says something like that to me, especially like when I was in my dark night, like I had so many different issues with people. Like I was getting into it with coworkers, I was getting into it with family members, I was getting into it with my parents. Like it was just like relationships, it was like everything. I was getting into it with people, and it was so bad. Okay. And now, since I'm healing, I can use my shadow to come into that energy of, advocating for myself or advocating for someone else, because I helped out a friend, or, the lady I met at the time, the acquaintance, I helped her out because, like I said, I picked up when she was going to just accept it. And no, it was looking like some salad. I don't know what it was looking like. It wasn't looking like what it was supposed to. It wasn't given what it was supposed to give, okay? And so I'm able to now see where this can help me. I can do this in a healthier way. This darker side, or, those darker aspects, I'm bringing them to the light, but they still serve me in some type of way. We're not here to get rid of the shadow altogether. It's about keeping it in perspective and balancing it. Part of my shadow, I would get jealous about things. Oh my gosh, I would be so jealous. I would get so jealous that I would get worked up and I'd be ready to throw stuff or, go off and things like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do still get jealous. It does. It happens. We're human. We're going to feel these human emotions, even if we're on a high vibe. People will be like, oh, I'm vibing so high. I don't feel, no, that's not true. I vibe high all the time. I still get jealous. I still get angry. I still feel the feels. I got jealous about something not that long ago from social media. I threw my phone at the wall. I couldn't even believe, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that because I felt so jealous. So you will still feel these emotions and it's okay. You're a human. But as soon as I got jealous, a couple minutes later, I was like, calm down. I was able to bring myself back, bring myself into perspective. It's okay. It's okay. In the past, I would not have been able to do that. In the past, I would have been jealous for days or maybe even years. I used to hold on. I would be, maybe not years, but I would hold on to stuff. I would really hold on. Even when I say I let it go, not really. I would still be holding on. So I see the growth. I see the difference. And I see that just because I feel sometimes those lower level frequencies, right? Anger, jealousy, whatever, resentment, I'm still healing it. And it's still a part of my shadow, but I'm seeing the difference and I'm seeing how it's a part of the human experience. And it's just about balancing perspective, balancing, coming back to that place, coming back to this place of balance, centered, speaking up for yourself, but doing it in a way where you're not condemning someone and tearing them down and being nasty about it. Because I used to be really hurtful with my words. I could be really hurtful with my words. My words can really cut deep. I realized that about myself when I was healing my shadow. And now I'm in a place I don't want to hurt someone with my words. I don't want to rip someone down. I've been healing those wounds and why do I feel the need to rip someone down? Why do I feel the need to be hurtful? That's not really me, but that's the wounded part of myself. That's the part of my defensiveness, me getting defensive. This is what I would do. I would feel like someone's attacking me. So I have to be on the attack and I'm going to attack you with my words. I know how to read very well. I could read with the best of them. And I didn't realize that was the gift. Once, I've been in circumstances, I'm like, yeah, people really don't know how to read. They don't know how to read. They don't even know how to have a comeback. I'm really quick with it. But now I don't do that. Unless I'm put in that position, but I'm on a higher vibe, so I don't really have those situations anymore. But if it comes down to it, I get down. But I'm not calling that in. So balance your shadow. Your shadow can help you. Your ego, make sure that's in check. Okay? If it's out of control, just like with everything else, it will be out of control. I had ego issues too. I didn't even realize it. But I had a lot of ego issues and a lot of pride. And I had to really look at myself and go apologize to people and apologize for my behavior and take accountability and tell them this is why I behaved like this and this is why I said this and this is why I acted this way. Because it wasn't cool. I was operating out of ego. My shadow was out. My shadow was wounded, hurt. And that's a part of the process. But we're all learning, we're all growing. Be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, and give yourself that grace and give others the grace as well. So we can talk about this more in the comments. Let me know. Do you balance out your shadow? Are you still trying to find that balance with your shadow? Have you had issues where you exploded on people because Maybe, you haven't been doing your shadow work. Let's just talk about it in the comments. I'm grateful for you sharing your stories. If no one told you that they love you today, I love you. Thank you for being here. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe, join the Capital LOVE tribe, comment below. If you don't want to share a story, just drop a heart and I would appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.